The divorce rate in America is about 40 to 50%. The divorce rate for arranged marriages is 4%. Reason being is men are better at vetting men than women are. So my advice usually to women is find a man that has no sexual interest in you, a brother, a father, a cousin, and have him vet the man that you want to date, as opposed to you looking at a man and saying, you know what, I really like this guy, he's tall. Welcome to the What They Won't Tell You podcast. I am the Honorable Armani, joined with a few guests.
It's your boy Mozzie.
Annabelle.
It's your boy Ray.
Hey.
How y'all feel today?
Great.
Doing good, can't complain.
All
It's a
right.
good day.
From our last episode, we're on episode 10, so I do
Hey,
want to
we making
celebrate
it.
double digits. You know what I mean? Appreciate it. One thing that I've discovered from seeing the first 9 episodes, rather, is that average men. I knew average men had a hard time, but I think last episode really showed that like most women don't want an average man. Because they don't believe that they're average. And where that brings me to, I saw a TikTok the other day, and the woman said, if you're a man and you make $50K, you shouldn't be dating. And her whole thought process was, to court a woman, it takes money, it takes investment, and a man that makes $50K doesn't have that capability to really do the investment in a courtship. My thought process is if you're a man and you're self-sufficient, that's good enough. You know what I mean? If you have 2 roommates and you make $50K and you can survive and handle your own thing, it doesn't take a lot of money to date. You can do coffee dates, you can do picnics, you could do movies on the lawn, whatever. You could be creative. It doesn't take money to date. I will say on the opposite side, though, if you want to date at the best level, you probably need some money to do that, because most women want to look up to a man, and if his money isn't at a certain level, that she's not going to be able to look up to him and admire him, and it'll make for a bad situation. So I want to get the group's thoughts. What do you think about the statement that the woman said, if a man makes $50K, he shouldn't date, period? Let's start over here.
I don't necessarily think that a guy should subscribe to that or feel like that. You know what I mean? Or take that to heart. The only reason why I don't feel that way is because, I feel like you said, if he's able to hold it down and he's a solid adult and he takes care of his business, you know what I mean? And he's able to be smooth enough and he has the juice himself to be able to pull a woman's attention that makes whatever, shoot your shot. You know what I mean? There's a lot of women out here that are lonely, you know what I'm saying, that have those parameters that are talking about you need to make this, you need to make that, but they single. You know what I'm saying? So if a guy comes along that looks the way you want him to look, you know what I'm saying, he's a man, you know what I'm saying, and he'll be there for you, and he makes $50K, are you going to pass him up because he just makes $50K? You know what I'm saying? Or would you rather be lonely? So, you know what I mean? I guess, not to ramble on, I just feel like, a guy should never let what he makes, you know what I'm saying, decide who he could talk to, because it's not all about that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think what's lost in her statement is that, like, we forget that, the best relationships are things that are built. And I think that we forget that, a lot of people are looking for people already at their max, at their pinnacle, at the top. And I think that that's a wrong outlook to look at it. I mean, you want to look at those characteristics that define quality and know that, like, don't just judge one person on one, characteristic like finance. And so it's like, I just think that it's really, what's the word I want to use? I guess is really small-minded to look at it in that way and not think that, like, a man is more than just his finance, right? And it's like, how I'm trying to put this. All right, come back to me. Let me think.
If this, just to kind of, jump in there too, I kind of feel like, and it goes both ways. I don't think it's just a one-way street here, but I've heard, just having, so many, women clients or whatever the case may be, I've heard a lot of horror stories about guys who do make substantial amount of money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That since they do make a lot of money, they don't have to work on their character. I got the bread. You know what I'm saying? I'm a one percenter. You know what I mean? I'm a catch. So they move a particular way that kind of turns women off. So it kind of goes both ways. You know what I mean? Obviously, you don't want a guy that has no ambition, that doesn't make money. But then there's always an in between. You know what I mean? I feel like what sparked me to jump in was just when you said character.
Yeah.
I think character is probably something that you probably want to look for above finances.
Yeah. I mean, to my point that I was remembering now was like my analogy to it is like if you're talking to a dude who might be in medical school, right? And like jumping into residency, you're probably making $60K a year. But he has the potential to make 200, 300, $400K a year. But it might be an 8, 10-year span before he gets there. And most people are willing to work with that because they can see the potential. But that potential is like in the hard work, the ethics, the character, that he's kind of persistent throughout those years to obtain that money. And it's the same way with the dude who's making 50. You might not see it as clear as he's in medical school, but if he has a plan, a purpose, eventually he'll roll into that. And so it's just willing to like work with who the person is based on their character and their vision. I think a lot of times we look at those middle school values of like, where is he at currently? And it's like, where does he have the potential to get to? But at the same time, a lot of people say something about potential. And to me, it's not about like potential per se, but it's about like the ambition or the drive the person has. You know, so you can look at those traits and say, okay, he's making 50K today, but that guy has the potential to be at the 100K, 200K mark at some point. Are you willing to work with him just like the dude who's in medical school who might be 8 years, 10 years down the road? Most times people might be willing to work with them because they know that the future is coming. So,
But if you're a woman, do you want to work with somebody or do you want to get somebody that's already there?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's gender specific. I just think like inherently people should want to build things. You know what I mean? Like it's like, you know, how you get it is how you lose. And if you got easy, you might lose it easy, right? But if you put some blood into it, some sweat into it, you work with it. I mean, it's not like building in the sense of you're dragging somebody to do something, right? It's like you guys are working off of each other's strengths and weaknesses and helping each other and you filling in the blanks, right? And ultimately you take the machine as a group and you progress it, hopefully, you know?
Well, we do have a woman.
Yeah.
So I mean,
what do you, that's the,
instead of us talking, how does she feel about everything?
I mean, I don't know that I necessarily agree with her. Like, I think that it's kind of shallow to go straight for finances. That's all you care
That's the word I
about.
was looking for.
And if we're not holding women accountable, like at the same line, like, are you making 50K when you're saying this, or when you're like dating those, expecting that from men? I hope she's expecting that of herself. But it is shallow to think of that, like, and that's just the only reason you're gonna leave. What about the other things?
I will
I
say,
don't agree
like,
with that at all.
to your point about if a woman's making 50K, is it the same thing? I think most men, I don't think a woman's finances turn a man on. Like, that's not, like, you know what I mean? Like, seeing a woman's paycheck isn't the thing that turns you on. It's not like, hey, come over tonight and bring your paycheck. That's really going to get me in the mood.
nah.
Or better yet, her being really wealthy. It's not a turn on. We joke about it all the time. Me and my boys, like, you know, we talk about guys don't necessarily have to be in shape to get ladies. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, it's crazy how a dude could just be out of shape. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, he's a CEO.
Shot a little bread.
He owns, you know, multiple businesses or whatever. And he pulls up in the right car and, you know what I'm saying, word around the street is he's that guy. You know what I'm saying? He'll be able to date. He'll be good to go.
Yeah.
The same doesn't go for a woman. An out of shape woman who's making bread walks in the room, every dude's overlooking her. Not unless she's Oprah. But like most dudes are overlooking like a regular chick who's like caked up, who's out of shape. You know what I mean? So I would say it's unfair in that sense, you know?
So it seems like we all agree. I don't like that. So,
Go ahead. I was in trouble. Come on.
all right, let me take it a step further. In a relationship that is, if a relationship is 50-50, let me take it back. If a man isn't providing the majority of the resources in a relationship or in a marriage, should he be expected to do other activities that normally he wouldn't do? So for instance, like if it's a marriage and, you know, a man's paying 100% of the bills, traditionally by society standards, people would say the woman should be cooking, cleaning, taking care of the kids, whatever. if it's a 50-50 relationship, does that change the amount of housework that needs to be done? Does that change the dynamic of the relationship? Because what people are saying is like, if you're, the women are saying, I go to work the same amount as you go to work. Why do I have to come home and clean and cook and do all this stuff and you sit on the couch and blah, blah, blah? Like, it's not fair. Do we think that the dynamics change depending on finances?
Nah, the dynamics don't change depending on finances. Well, you know what? I'll take that back.
So I still gotta cook and clean.
Go ahead.
Wait,
what was that?
We
Wait.
both work, but I still gotta cook and clean. When you come home and you don't gotta do nothing, I'm confused.
Right.
Wait.
It
So,
depends on.
So, what's the? Can you restate the question real quick?
All right,
for me
so
real
let's
quick?
paint a scenario. You're married.
Mm-hmm.
You got a husband. You make 100K. He makes 100K.
Okay.
Who does what in the house? Do y'all cook and clean equally? Do you cook and clean and he, handle the yard work, or does he?
Are we assuming that the conversation between the two are that they're going 50-50? Is that what they agreed on, or that?
Well, they're making the same amount of money.
Okay, so they're making the same amount, right?
So they going 50-50, hypothetically.
Okay.
So
Does that change the housework dynamic?
I don't think it changes the house dynamic. I think the house dynamic should be 50-50 or based off of whoever is available. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if it's more convenient for your schedule to do the laundry, then you do the laundry because you're home at the time where you can get it done. You know what I mean? It's just based off of convenience, and you normally kind of in my head, you normally kind of want to think as a team. You know what I'm saying? Like you're stronger in this area, or you have a lot more time in this area, so you can get that done, and you don't have time at this time of the day, so I'm going to make sure I take the kids to school. Like, you just kind of break up the chores based off of who's more available. So it's still 50-50, but, you just play as a team.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in agreement to that. I think, again, it's subjective, right, to each individual's relationship, but I think that based on definitely level of convenience for, like, the strengths of the individual, right? Like, your girl might be a better cook, or you might be better at yard work, or you're a little stronger, a little taller, so these things will work better for you. I think to play to the strengths,
You don't
of
need
each
yard
partner.
work every day. You gotta cook and clean every day.
I mean, it takes a lot to maintain a house, right? Like a property, a house. You talk about a whole yard and a house that you got, you and your wife. There's a lot of things to get done inside, outside, bill-wise, throughout the year. Spring season, fall season preparation.
But she's saying on a daily basis, she's cooking and cleaning. You doing an oil change once a quarter.
I mean, but again, it all depends on how you guys feel more comfortable about splitting the stuff, right? Maybe she's doing the budget, and maybe you're managing groceries. You're buying all the stuff from Costco, but then she's cooking it, but then she's putting it away, but then you're cleaning the basement, but then she's cutting. It all depends on
So to your point, if you cook, I'm going to wash the dishes.
That's how it should be.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's all about what y'all talk about. I think that if you're talking about if you're making the same amount of money, like, does everyone still have to hold their weight, right?
If you were making 100% of the resources, would you still wash the dishes?
So cool. So now
Wait,
you
that's
get
a different
into
story.
it.
So if I'm making
that's what I'm
100,
saying.
let's say I'm making 200 grand and she's making zero, stay-at-home wife.
Yeah.
Right. That's
That's a different story because I'm
correct.
using the majority of my energy to bring in all the resources versus that used to be a shared load.
So because
So the responsibilities will be shared because we're all sharing the load.
Okay.
But now that I'm taking all my energy and time to make the resources, if she's at home, she should use that energy and time to do all those things that I would have also
You got to
shared.
make sure the breadwinner's comfortable, bro.
Yeah, because you got to keep me stress-free to keep making the bread,
Yeah.
right? Like, that's more, I guess, they're both important roles, but that's more important because that keeps the lights on.
I agree. I mean, the issue is the majority of relationships right now, there's only, I think, 23% of marriages that can actually be like a single provider household. So the majority of relationships now require
Both of
two
us.
incomes.
Women don't want to be stay-at-home moms anymore.
Is that the consensus?
That's the feminism part
Absolutely,
of it. I
absolutely.
mean,
They don't-
Because you get old and then your husband leaves you for a younger girl, and then you have no future or nothing else to hold
I
on
don't
to.
know if
Like,
they're doing that by the droves,
that's
though.
the story that like they always tell women
What?
growing up. They're like, you gotta get your own thing, you gotta get your own money because, like when you get old, they'll leave you for someone else and leave you with nothing, no house, no.
I mean,
no
a lot of
job,
times
no
in
future,
those-
no
in those
degree. Like
cases-
you didn't do anything. Yes, okay, you can fight in court for the money, but like what if you signed a
I mean, people still grow apart. Like, you stay at home mom, and maybe you don't dive into any other hobbies or businesses or whatever, and you end up growing apart. 20, 30 years later, those things happen. I don't know if we
But
can.
the choice is
Being a stay-at-home mom, you can't run a business.
Yeah, you can. Who says so?
I mean, if you're like a full-time stay-at-home mom and you take care of
You can
like,
do
4
property management,
kids,
real
like, it's
estate. You can run a hair business out your house. You can do a nail business. You can still do a lot.
you can.
There's a lot of online
eventually,
things you can
like,
do.
once the kids are older.
Huh?
You can eventually once the
You
kids
can run an
are
e-commerce
older, but
business out your basement. We're not gonna throw business ideas
I
around.
mean, the choice comes down to, as a woman, do you want to work for the majority of your life and contribute to significant bills, or would you rather have a man that takes care of the bills? You don't have to work, but you don't have the security in case something goes wrong.
But that second option
if
isn't
I knew that my husband wasn't gonna leave me when I got old and I had that security, I would definitely be a stay-at-home mom and let him provide everything and do like all the right things. We don't
But
have that
the
security.
likelihood of everybody being able to attain that is really slim. You
Right.
know what I mean? It's going to be, majority of the people are going to have to, both people work in majority of the cases. I don't,
But
you
you
know.
know what
I feel
though?
like it's-
I like the thought of both people working. Period. No
Yeah.
matter what. And the only reason why I like that is because it keeps issues and things like this that we're talking about from happening. Because if you're not working, things always kind of hit the fan to where it's like, you get into an argument, you're tired, you're frustrated because you're just carrying such a heavy load, and that's going to come up. It comes up in a lot of households where someone's carrying more of the load and someone's not, because it's like, hey, I'm frustrated, I'm doing all of this, and what are you doing? So instead of it getting down to that and someone's feelings getting hurt because they're being undervalued, let's just both work. Let's just
Yeah.
both work. Let's handle this as a team. Let's attack things as a team. Versus,
Yeah.
because I'm telling you, you go down the road of, I'm going to stay home, I'm going to do this. There's going to be a
Maybe some
time where
slight, yeah.
it comes up. You know what I mean? That's like the golden rule of, like, you know what I'm saying? If somebody takes care of you, you take care of them back, because you don't ever want to feel like the weight. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So,
I don't know what type of stay-at-home moms y'all be, but the stay-at-home mom, I know it's a full-time job. It's not what are you doing while I'm at work. It's a full-time job while you at work.
so,
It should be.
so the thought is, right, and I understand what you're saying, because taking care
I'm
of
cultured, I come from a different country, so it's like being a stay-at-home mom is a full-time job, and it's a hard job, and it's not an easy job.
Yeah, you're 100% right. You know what I'm saying? But I guess what he's saying is that, you know what I'm saying, there's also daycare. So if you're an ambitious person that's staying at home and you're a mom, daycare holds you down for about six hours or whatever.
Daycare is $2,600 almost a month. That's
I
a
pay
whole
for
new
daycare.
rent.
I got a wife at home.
That's a whole new
What
rent.
am I- what we paying
like, that's a
daycare
whole
for?
other rent. Are you really gonna
You're not
pay?
working. That's what I'm saying.
Most
like,
people really can't afford daycare anymore. Like, it's literally a whole other mortgage payment.
Well, I'll say this.
$2,600 a month is a lot.
I think a man should be in a position where he can let his wife stay at home for a period of time, maybe the first 2 years or something after the baby comes. But like, if you're talking about you're just gonna be a stay-at-home mom for like a long period of time, that's a different conversation.
yeah.
I think also, and I can't speak for anybody else on the panel, but at least when I grew up, I saw women go to work and come home and go to work again. So it's kind of hard in my mindset to be like, well, why can't you do both? Because that's what I seen growing up. It wasn't a big deal to go work 8-9 hours and come home and cook for the family, because somebody got to cook, somebody has to clean, somebody has to do. So I think it's only in this like modern era where we see social media and we see the luxury lifestyle of like, oh, this celebrity, she just goes on trips and she gets bags and shoes and she gets flown out and she lives this life of luxury. But like,
What is that TikTok trend for women right now? Trad moms.
Trad moms?
It's like traditional moms. That's what it stands for.
is that Nara Smith?
I want to say she would probably be a trad mom. Yeah, I think she's a trad mom.
But they say she's a slave because she makes all her food from scratch. So she'll make like
What?
a peanut butter and jelly
She does
sandwich.
it because she has to and she wants to.
But they
Wait,
torture her in
why
the
they call her a
comments.
slave?
Because
Because
she cooks everything from scratch.
like she makes bread from scratch. Like if she makes a peanut
But
butter and jelly
how's that?
She makes a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. She makes the peanut butter from scratch, the jelly from scratch. She can make toothpaste. She made her own Coca-Cola.
She stay at home mom?
Yeah.
The
No,
women
but she
are
does work
demonized.
though. She does model work. Like she's always been a model. So like, and I think she has.
Why they demonize her for making her food from scratch?
Because why cater to a man?
I think people are.
Oh,
haters.
that's what it is.
Feminism has said that like it's a bad thing.
So
to
if
cater
she
to
didn't
a
make
man.
it from scratch, that's the problem. Because y'all
But
highlighting
she's not
this-
doing it for just the man. She did it for herself first. She had a skin
Yeah, to
problem.
learn how to cook food from scratch is not easy. That's a skill.
Yeah, but they're saying like, why are you going above and beyond? Like, why are you doing all of this work? Why not go chase a career and do something that you want to do? Not knowing that she wants to provide for
Maybe
her
that's what she
family.
wants to do, right? That's
She's a
how you know what she
content
want to
creator.
do.
She's making at least 200K a month just off her TikTok. So it's like,
That's what I'm saying. You gotta get with the internet, man.
Like what?
You gotta get off the internet, bro. Because there's so many people who are lost on there just spewing whatever they feel like their crazy rhetoric. And it's like, it's jamming up the malleable minds out here, man. Like it's like that's silly. If you want to cook from scratch for your man, if you want to make like that's a skill, right? You know what I mean? Make a recipe book for the rest of us.
It's a skill to you, but to other women, that's not a skill. That's like,
Well, we all gotta eat. Somebody gotta know how to do it.
so they're saying, so okay. As women are advancing their careers and they're making the most money that they've ever made, the idea is that why do we have to follow traditional gender roles? So it's like,
I mean, you don't have to. You have to follow what works for you. And for some majority of people, they've been raised with those kind of traditional mindsets. So maybe if you want to find somebody who doesn't think like that, and they're more modern in their thinking, and they're open to whatever ideas you want to bring to, find those select group of people. Might be small, but you can't force everyone to believe in a mindset because someone says this is the best approach.
but gender roles exist because they work. The problem is like society tries to re-engineer relationships, and the reason that it makes sense to have gender roles is because certain people are good at certain things. Like men are good at certain things, or women are good at certain things, and it doesn't necessarily make sense to convolute the two. If you ask women, and I'm gonna ask you in a second, would you want to provide for a man for a lifetime? Is that something that you aspire for?
no, nobody aspires to do that.
Well, men aspire to provide for their family. Like men want to, they want.
And we've been taught
provide.
as a badge of honor,
So you're
right?
saying
To
that's
like
the,
take up that
that's
role.
the gender role for a man. To,
It's just
Yeah.
biologically
That's not mine.
ingrained that like a man's like, I want to provide for a family. A woman's role is not. She doesn't wake up and say, I want to provide for a man. I want to take care of a man. Like I've never heard of.
You know maybe what it is. In this country, we've been brought up to believe that you have the freedom to do whatever you believe to do, right? If you want to believe in a specific religion, or you want to join a specific type of I wouldn't say cult, but like a belief group, you have the freedom to do all that, right? And that's probably part of the problem, because it's like if I have the freedom to do that, I can choose what I want to do. Although we know the nuclear path is the best path, when you open that possibility, then anyone feels the right to do what they think is right for them. That makes it hard if we know like this is the best path to keep a sustained society. What do you do in that kind of like scenario? Like how do you kind of tell people this is the best path, but at the same time tell them you have the freedom to make your own choices that suit you?
You have freedom to do whatever you want to do, but if you want a certain outcome, you got to move a certain type of way. If you know women want a man that provides and protects.
I mean,
Coming into the
that outcome is more so it's a different outcome, right? Like, we want the nuclear family so we can sustain society. So the more that we have people going on that path, the more we can kind of keep society sustained, right? In a sense, that's kind of the idea, right? But then, if I want 2 wives, I can still do that. Or if a dude, wanted to be with 2 other dudes, he could still do that. Right? Now, it's like, if you can find it, that'd be your own happiness. It might be slim to find it, but if you can, hey, that's your happiness. But it doesn't have to move the goalpost of let's keep, society sustained, right? That's under like the guise of being free. Like I get to choose what I want. I don't have to think about it's my choices helping move society forward.
I think it's the way that people think now is different. So, back in the day, it was okay to be an average guy and work at the power plant and come home, and that was acceptable. Now, it's not as acceptable to just be an average man. Yeah. So if you want the best output from your woman, it does take a lot of effort to make yourself into something that's desirable on a financial level, a physical level. You got to be well-rounded on all these different levels. So I can tell a guy, hey, you're average guy and you should be able to get a girl. But in reality, what we hear is women say they want a guy making 6 figures, 6 feet, 6-pack, all these different things. So in good faith, it wouldn't make sense to say it's cool to stay where you are because you're not going to get the best situation. It's hard for a woman to like, how can you be a leader if you make the same amount of money as another woman, is what a lot of women are saying. It's like,
yeah. But I mean, that'll be the downfall on them. They'll be the ones losing out on great opportunities, right?
Right.
Because they're not being able to see past the fog, right? I think it sucks on both sides because dudes ain't meeting women, and women are meeting just the same select few of men, and they're not getting their opportunities either. Like I think we're both in a shit show, to be honest.
Yeah, it's tough. What's
You know
up?
what I mean? And like it sucks for the average Joe, and then the women are getting pushed to this delusional message of, he has to be a certain standard before you can say you have a good man, and so it's I guess that's fucking us all up. Like the world, I don't know, like how do we get over that hump?
I don't think you do. I think you just, as a man, you don't stop meeting delusional women. You just learn how to manage delusion.
Well, in the sense, it's okay.
I don't necessarily know about that one because my thought is I'm not getting into no relationship to manage anybody's delusion,
Facts,
bro.
100%.
Off the break, you know what I mean.
not.
Soon we meet. If you're delusional, it's just not gonna last. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing it. The thing about it is that we pick our situations.
Yeah.
Most of the time. So if you're in a marriage that sucks, you picked it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, from the jump. You ignored all the red flags, and you're in it. You have to deal with it, and you have to manage delusion. But I mean, like, if it's up to me, bro, I'm not. As soon as I see it, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
So for the guys, what I hear a lot is guys are like, every girl I meet, no matter where they are in their career, there's a certain level of, you think reality is one way. I remember I was dating, I was in the field, I met a
we go.
girl, she was in law school,
Here we go.
and she was like, I know I'm gonna graduate law school and make a lot of money, but I'm not paying any of the bills because I can't submit to a man that doesn't pay bills. And I'm like, what's the point of you going to law school and going on all this debt if you got to get with a man to pay for you and 2 kids, pay your debt, his debt, the tuition, all that? It doesn't make any sense. But in her mind, she's like, I grew up seeing my dad pay the bills. I don't care. My money is my money and your money is my money.
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of guys, no matter where you meet a girl, whether she's a bottle girl, whether she's a lawyer, whatever she is, there's still a certain level of like societal delusion to navigate.
I think it is. I think you're right. So you are right, and you know what I'm saying. That's more of an internet thing that makes people think that it's really like that. But there's still a large portion of people out here that are cultured, who are still traditional or have traditional beliefs. And I think that, when you're dating, you need to look for someone who has traditional beliefs or their beliefs align with yours. You can't force, you know what I'm saying, like something that you could see off the break is just she's not on the same page as you. Just because she's very attractive, she looks good, she's your type or whatever the case may be physically, but she doesn't have a traditional mindset, it's not going to work. And I think that a lot of guys run into these problems that you're talking about when they're trying to force something to work.
So let me ask this. What are your, when you were in the field, or if you're in the field, what were your strategies for assessing someone if they were a viable candidate to date? I want to hear from you. You've been quiet. So what's your strategy?
How do you get away from delusion, or like how do you like?
I guess when you're dating different guys, like what's your thought process of like
How
who
do you
you're gonna
find out
give
if he's a solid guy, somebody that you would want to go the long route for?
and give effort to? That's another
Let me add that part in.
Well, I feel like I've always had like a good radar of like when people are good and bad people. So like I feel like just off jump I can like tell if someone is a good person or not. But like what it really comes down to is probably consistency and like the amount of effort you put in. Because I feel like these days people, and just like I don't know, like people just don't put the effort in. They're very like, I'm gonna put my foot in, I'm gonna put my pinky in, but I don't want to go all the way in. So like that's really I think where it goes with me. Like I'm gonna take you more serious if you take me more serious. Like I don't want to feel like you're just like putting your pinky in and you're scared. Like like you follow through, I'll follow through too. That's definitely the main thing for me. Like that'll make me take you serious and like really go for it.
Is it a certain career that you're looking for him to be in? Is it a certain type of... No?
I'm not
It's just the aura.
delusional. I feel like I'm not a delusional girl. I really do.
Okay.
I don't think I'm delusional. But I do feel like you guys are saying that most women are delusional.
Incredibly.
I feel like you guys are saying that.
Inherently.
I feel like you guys are saying that majority of women out here in the dating game are delusional. And I might actually kind of agree with you, but I also feel like there's a lot of girls like me that aren't delusional. And they're out there. You just kind of gotta find them. They're
Yeah,
looking in the
I
wrong
agree with that.
places. They're out there.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'll classify it as like unrealistic standards, I guess.
I feel like the
right?
girls that are
Like the
delusional.
6'5", the 600,000 in a bank account, like that's not realistic.
I think it's women
It's not.
confuse attention for retention.
Yeah.
They get attention from guys, but they don't get the retention, and they feel like I'm getting. Hey, I got a ball player that slid in my DMs. I got a rapper that slid in my DMs. I'm hot. When
No,
it's
you don't
like,
even realize if you date a guy with that much money, you're not gonna be the only one. Like, I don't
You
think
never
women
know, though,
realize
right?
what they
Everyone thinks they're
want.
special. They
Everybody
have
think-
powers.
that's what-
you
that's-
know what
yeah,
I
that's
mean?
the problem.
Everybody cat women. I don't know.
Men with money cheat. Polygamy is a rich man's sport. That's what I believe. The more money you have, unless he's like foreign or something, they don't want just one girl.
You know?
yeah. But-
I mean, character. The dude could have built his money, not, you know. I mean, most of these. I mean, I guess most of these dudes build their money. Some people earn it. You know, some people get it handout. But for the dudes that built it up, that came from nothing. Sometimes they maintain their character. You know, maybe a small select few of them.
I feel like the thing about like getting money is like when a guy gets money, like, and he starts hanging around other dudes with money, they tell you like, oh yeah, you don't just gotta have one girl anymore. Like, bro, you got money now. Like, that's like the culture of that shit.
But I mean, it all
different.
depends on what you care about, right? Like, like if you care, if you're only about women and everything you do is for women, then maybe like you're excited now that you can get access to more. But if your life is deeper and more purpose driven than that, that's not your
Hopefully.
real concern. Like maybe you're trying to be like Elon Musk and be on Mars. Like you ain't worried about girls. You know what I mean?
It's
Like,
different though. As a man, like you turn 18, you're a snotty nosed man. You graduated from high school. You may go to college. You may start a trade. Women don't want you. You broke. You don't know anything about life. You don't know how to be a leader. And then you work to build yourself into something, and it may take 5 to 10 years. By the time you get to 25, 30, and you get money, you got your own place, you got a car, you kind of know how to dress, you know how to talk, you know how to deal with women. Now you want to indulge. So that's kind of what
Exactly.
happens with a lot of guys. Like it took so
Exactly.
long to get to the top. Why would I just, you know what I mean? Like just settle down immediately. Why not enjoy the situation? And I think the clocks for women are a little bit different because women at 18 or 21 are like the hot thing. You know what I mean? They get their value early, and they have to preserve it. Men have to build their value. So it's like it's like anti. It kind of goes against each other. But I do want to.
I wanted to answer your original question.
Yeah, I
that
do
you
wanna get
asked.
back to
I think the original question was, what do you look for?
What was
Your
your
dating
strategy
strategy
to
to find-
deal with delusional women when you met delusional women?
Mm.
Or maybe that wasn't your.
I don't think that was the question.
Well, I mean, the question wasn't.
So the question
he
was
like
the
this
question
is your dating
was
strategy.
Your dating strategy
Your
for
dating-
finding a solid woman,
Okay,
right?
yeah. This
Alright.
sticker right here. Nah, go ahead, paint the picture.
I can answer that question too.
Alright,
you know what I'm
alright,
saying?
Go ahead.
But nah, I feel like to find somebody that's solid, you know what I mean, to get around, to make sure you avoid delusion. I feel like one of the things that I use personally is I normally like to look at the family. You know what I'm saying? The family that she's from.
Yeah.
To see if it's together or not. You know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily have to mean that it's together, that it's going to work, or whatever the case may be.
Laughing at that.
Damn.
It's like,
But
you
hold
know,
on,
family
hold-
together,
hold
my
on,
bad, sorry.
but my thought is if like she does come from a good family background, that normally does help the situation. If she grew up seeing her mom take care of her dad and vice versa, you know what I'm saying, and she was raised in that environment, she was always loved and stuff like that, that's a good sign that things are going to be good,
Right.
and that things will work out with you and her, you know what I mean? Or at least that she would have those traditional thoughts that you would want her to have.
Exactly.
We actually talked about something the other day too, on one of the past episode, where we were talking about going on multiple dates. I told you that I remember I'm saying that
3 dates.
3 dates. After 3 dates, you know, I usually like to pay for 3 dates, and then on the 4th date, I like to see if the woman, I sit back and I let the tab sit on the table to just see if she's gonna pay, and it just lets you know where her head's at. You know what I mean? And so those are two things that I use to judge a woman: her family background, and I just want to see what type of effort she's putting in, because I feel like if the woman is looking to make sure that you're strong, and that you're good, like, hey, are you okay? Is there anything I can help you with to make
Right,
you better
yeah.
at your job? That's the type of woman that I want to be with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because in turn, I'm going to give the same thing back to her, you know? Because that's what I'm bred to do. That's what we do, right?
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, I still need to be the horse
Reassured.
needs water, baby.
Yeah,
like,
you
you
need
got
to
to
be
take
reassured.
care of me too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm with that.
So that's how I look at it.
Okay.
I'm gonna add my 2 cents, but I want to know why she was chuckling though. I ain't gonna hold you.
I'm just saying, because like I don't got a big family. I don't come from a family. My parents weren't together growing up, and I feel like I still got all those values.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to. I mean, but it's situational at the end of the day. My big thing was what did you just say?
No,
Oh my
I
God,
think
now
I think what I said is
Now I
what
lost
kind
my
of
train
threw
of
you
thought.
off. Because you feel like as if your parents aren't together, but yet you're still a solid woman.
Yeah.
That I feel like that could definitely still happen. I just feel like it's more likely to happen if a woman grew up. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying, with both her.
So you're
parents
saying there's
together.
just better odds there. So I'm
Better
gonna
odds.
just take the better odds if I have the choice.
Yeah.
Is what you're trying to say.
That's all I'm saying.
Not saying it's
I don't
not
think
bad.
it's
Like, it's
impossible.
still, it's not.
I don't think
yeah.
it's impossible for you to meet a woman who didn't grow up with her dad for her not to be a good woman. It's just that.
The odds are probably not that great, but
Right, exactly. But
On average, it might be lower odds that way.
Right,
and then, so
I don't
you're
wanna-
just taking the better bet. That's all. That's all it is.
Exactly.
You know.
I think for,
Probability
I
game.
think going back both ways, even for a woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, definitely look at the dude's background. Look at his family dynamics.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
100%.
saying? Did her father beat on her mom? You know what I'm saying? Like, things like that. You know, like, people, when you grow up and you watch your mom and dad, that's where you learn what love is.
Yeah.
That's the first place.
You see the interaction between men and female right
Yeah.
there. You know.
So if that dynamic isn't nice, then
You might learn those same traits. Yeah. Apple don't fall far from the tree. You know what I mean?
That's what
They
I'm
say
saying.
so.
That's-
Like, you
that-
kind of grow up in that. Maybe your mom was verbally abusing your dad, and it might not even be physical. You kind of get used to. Maybe that's how I talk to men. You know, vice versa. Maybe you see your dad beat your mom. You think that's how you talk to women or treat women. And,
Yeah.
So
I'm not saying it's the end all
unfortunate.
be all, but that's the way
Right.
I do it. You know what I'm saying? And I've noticed that usually, you know what I'm saying, the odds are usually good when it's a good setup.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I wanna press you a little bit, respectfully.
He's so impressive.
All right, so when you were in the field, did you encounter delusional women, and how did you deal with that? Because what the men are saying is like, 50% of men have stopped approaching women, 63% of men have quit dating. All these statistics I throw out all the time, but the issue that they're saying is like they're meeting women, they're delusional, they're not willing to put in effort. So how'd you kind of navigate that space?
I mean, I ain't gonna hold you, bro. Like, I was on the dating apps for years. You know what I mean? You get that dater's fatigue just swiping through, and you meet so many people, way more than you would ever meet in person. And so you encounter delusion way more. I definitely did, right? Like, the things that, I was a dude of substance, so I was always trying to, like, ask questions to women and trying to, like, poke their brain, see what their future plans in life are. You know what I mean? You will realize a lot of people aren't really thinking about their future. A lot of people are just in the moment, just living in the fun, and you realize that. And for a dude, it could be frustrating because maybe for you, you're looking for success, meeting women, going on dates, and that might not happen. But you have to understand, like, your risk tolerance and be like, you know what, for me, I don't want to not only, like, feel frustrated or stressful at having these meaningless conversations, but I also don't want to lose money doing it. You know, so I was comfortable with, like, a low volume of interactions, but at least they were a little bit more meaningful. So, if it was a person who was delusional, it took a while to the point, because after a while you're in a loss a little while, but then I'm like, you know what, this is not worth my time. You know what I mean? Like you said, a strategy for me was a lot of my first 2-3 dates was like cheap dates. You know what I mean? Fun activities, but cheap dates. So that, like, it wasn't really a high investment. And if she was really irritated, I had a girl who said that she didn't want to go ice skating. To me, I'm like, all right, well, maybe she's looking for my money, because this is still a cute kind of date. And so that was kind of like a marker for me to be like, is she looking for me for the bag, or is she just trying to get to know me as an individual, right? And so you have to really be stern on your standard of like, all right, well, if this is my budget for dates and Shorty is telling me that she wants to do something more expensive, or what I plan isn't good for her quality or not the vibe for her, maybe that's not the person for me, right? And that's kind of how you got to kind of go through and navigate. Like, all right, you're meeting these women, you're dating them, you're asking questions, you're trying to invite them to places, and they're not budgeting on what you are trying to set for them, then you got to just pass on that. You know what I mean? And it's like, again, it's an old adage, there's plenty of fish in the sea for sure. But it's like, it is tiring if you're going through a bunch and you're not seeing success, but it's just what it is. It's a part of the game. It's called delayed gratification. As you keep working on it, you'll find the best thing for you. And when you do, you'll be proud you put the work in. And that's kind of like the mindset that I got for it.
Okay. I think I'm gonna go somewhere with that. I think a lot of men have a false scarcity mindset and a lot of women have a false abundance mindset. And what I mean by that is a lot of men date out of scarcity and they're put in a position where you're dating in a desperate mode. So you may be, if you're talking to one girl and she says something delusional, you may go along with it. You know what I mean? You're dating a girl and she says, hey, you want to take me on a date? Buy me a dress. And you may say, all right, I haven't been on a date in 3 months. I'll just buy this girl a dress this one time. You know what I mean? I'll never do it again. Let me just go on a date and see if I get the cheeks or whatever. Like, a lot of guys are dating in the scarcity situation where if you're dating in an abundant situation, if you're vetting, 2 to 3 women at a time, and one girl says something delusional, it doesn't hit you the same type of way because you have 2 other girls that, are potential candidates and aren't saying delusional things. So it takes a lot to get to that point where you can vet multiple women, but if a man's willing to do the work where he's attractive to women, then he can have that opportunity. On the women's side, I'll say that a lot of women look for things in men that don't really matter for a relationship. Like how tall a man is has nothing to do with how good of a husband or a partner he'll be.
We be wanting to make sure our girl has a fat ass too, though.
Yeah, I was about to say
But
that.
I can link the core.
I'm just saying.
I feel like being tall
Make
is
the U-turn. Make the U-turn.
being tall is important because you're like probably like more able to protect because you're taller.
Yeah, see, I'm
You got more
no
advantage in the
disrespect.
fight?
No, I think I understand
don't
what
like
you're
when women
saying.
make that reference because it's like
I get what she's trying to say is that she says that you feel more secure because
right. A
the
large
guy
stature is synonymous
makes you feel more
with secure, right?
Correct.
But in real life combat engagement, it's about the skill set. You could be 6'5", 200 pounds, and your dude is 5'9", he'd take a man out quick. So it's I don't look at it like, because I used to run with a little dude who was small dude, but when we used to get into trouble, he'd be knocking out big dudes, and it's just like he 5'7".
Yeah.
So it's like it's not about his stature, more so about that when it comes to protection.
But you know what? The 5'7" dude that's like that, his swag, his aura,
He a different
will
dude.
be able to pull. He'll
I
be able
know.
to pull, yeah, whoever.
But that's what I'm saying. If I'm talking to a female friend, I'm like, don't limit your options just because you think only a 6'5" dude can protect you.
Yeah.
Any dude who's willing to put his life online, who cares that much about you, will put himself in harm's way for you, and that might lead to protection. You know what I mean?
If
So
you
I
were
don't like
vetting-
that because I'm a tall girl, so
I'm
that's
not
why I
maybe
care
I'm
about
not
the
saying
6'5".
5'7", forget 5'7". Maybe he could be 6'1". I mean, you don't have to be a whole 6'7".
I'm 5'8", so it's like I have to date somebody that's 6'5".
I mean, that's
It's
cool.
not
I mean,
even
that's,
like-
yeah. I mean,
it
you
makes
tall.
you feel more secure.
I'm not gonna date someone shorter than me.
No, and I'm cool with that because I don't like dating girls that are close to my height either. Like if I'm dating a girl that's 5'9", my
I like
arm
them
up
tall.
here. See,
I like them
you like
tall.
climbing trees,
You like
don't you?
climbing
I like yo, listen. I like him 6 foot.
You like
know what I'm
long
saying?
legs.
I like 6 foot.
Giraffe joints.
I'll post her ass up, bro. I like him tall, bro.
Jeez.
I like
Let me
him
ask
tall.
you this though.
Hey,
You
yo,
said
man.
you're gonna climb the tree. That's so funny.
I feel
If you were vetting a man for your sister, would you care how tall he was?
No, I wouldn't. It's her.
But you'd at least
No.
make sure-
Time out.
You'd at least make sure he's taller
I mean,
than
my
her.
whole thing. Say again.
You'd at least make sure he's taller than her.
I mean, it's
I don't
her,
think that matters.
It's her personal preference. If her dude, actually, my sister's last boyfriend
I don't know,
was
bro.
my sister's last boyfriend was her same height. Now, to me, I didn't think nothing of it. I was
What
just like,
does that
yo,
matter for the
if you
relationship?
like the dude and the dude's taking care of you, right? He's gonna provide for you and take care of you. I'm cool. If he's about you, what does this height do for me? Well, then I'm alone. What does it do for you?
I don't know, man. I've worked out with you before. We all worked out together. I feel like that's a conversation in a workout. Like, you know what I'm saying? My daughter brought home this scraggly ass nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's. I feel
Listen,
like you'll feel aware about
Let
it.
me tell you this. The only thing that I can say that height gets you, especially if you are a dude of a muscular stature, right? Like I do see personally in my life other dudes my size. Dudes, we do this thing. We size each other up.
Yeah.
That's the thing that we do. And so a lot of times other dudes view me as a threat, maybe because of my height and my size. And if you were like 5'9", 5'8", maybe you might not get that presence. You know, so a lot of dudes might be more willing to try a 5'7" dude than they would a 6'5" dude. You know, you're a lot more nervous with that stature. I guess that's the only thing I would give a tall dude.
I think I'm with what you're saying, right? But I think that as a father, I have a daughter. You know what I'm saying? Like, if she brought this dude home, and I see him, and I'm just like, the first thought a father would think, if he comes through and he's shorter than your daughter,
okay, 5'8", he's a pencil,
and he's shorter than your daughter or whatever the case. I mean, you're just like, baby. At first, before I get to know him, because I want to get to know him and make sure he's a good guy. If he's a good guy, rock out. Y'all have a good relationship. My blessings, right? But initially in my head, I'm like, how's he? Like,
let me ask you.
Are you saying shorter than her? Like, we talk about midget level short.
No,
I'm talking about realistically. Most dudes on average is 5'9".
Anything shorter than you as a woman is short.
Huh?
Anything shorter than the girl is just short.
Typically, women say anything shorter than 6 feet is short.
That's what they say.
No, it's short man syndrome is a real disease.
Anything shorter than a woman is short, like she said.
No. 6
No, because
feet.
she say she put on heels.
Yeah, because all the girls put on heels.
If she 5'5" and she put on 4-inch heels.
You see that video? It was the balloon popping video where the girl was wearing heels and she was telling the dude that she didn't like him and she popped his balloon because she felt that though he was taller. So when the host asked her how tall she was like 5 feet. But she was like, with these heels, I'm giving 6 feet. I'm you're delusional. You're not giving 6 feet.
So let me ask you this. If your daughter brought home, would you rather your daughter bring home Tyrone or Sebastian?
Jeez, hold on.
So what's Sebastian now?
Sebastian is
trying to get Tyrone this bad image, yo. There's a
Tyrone,
lot of good Tyrones out there.
Everybody know who Tyrone is.
Tyrone is the guy
I know who Tyrone. Who's Sebastian?
Sebastian sounds like the Italian guy or something.
Who's
Sebastian is
Sebastian.
He may be 5'6", 5'5".
He wear a crop top.
He wears slacks. You know what I mean? He wears khakis. He has a good job.
What's wrong with that though?
No. Let him finish. Go ahead.
But I'm saying, I think my original point was, I think women vet men based on things that don't matter for a relationship. Height being one of those things. And what is evident by is the divorce rate in America is about 40 to 50%. The divorce rate for arranged marriages is 4%. Reason being is men are better at vetting men than women are. So my advice usually to women is find a man that has no sexual interest in you, a brother, a father, a cousin, and have him vet the man that you want to date, as opposed to you looking at a man and saying, you know what, I really like this guy, he's tall. I really like this guy, he makes money. Like, because as a man, I'm not looking at how tall he is. I'm looking at his character, his integrity, his morals, his principles. The height and stuff, that doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, I agree to you on that part of like enlisting a friend, brother, cousin to kind of help with validation. But you still need to build the discernment skill yourself to make better life choices. Because, like, yeah, maybe your friend told you that's a good choice, but you don't make good choices. So how long is that relationship going to last? You know what I mean? If you're not making good decisions yourself. So, I mean, I think, like, yes, I think it's everybody. I do it for my sister. I do it for my friends. I think that you should have male friends that help you out. Vice versa, too. You know, but...
So back to this question about Sebastian and Tyrone.
Sebastian
right?
Tyrone. Would you rather your daughter bring home Tyrone, who is... You can tell he gets women pretty easily, and he's the tall guy. He's the guy that has the charm. He plays football. He gets women easily. Or Sebastian, who may be, the square for all intents and purposes, but he'll treat your daughter. You know what I mean? He's gonna put work.
So it's like the future versus Russell Wilson. Short. That's what you're really trying to say.
Future versus
Russell Wilson. That's really what he's saying. That's really what he's saying.
I'm definitely picking Russell Wilson. It's my daughter. I want her to pick a dude that's gonna love her like I love her. That's what I want.
Would you pick Future or Russell Wilson?
Definitely Russell Wilson.
Yeah,
I mean that's the choice. Everybody. Russell Wilson.
To pick Future is to choose to deal with other women as well. Like that's the choice. Like if you pick Future, you're not gonna be the only bitch.
But it's like what lifestyle do you want? Do you want
Russell Wilson? I'm gonna be the only bitch.
But do you want to stay at home? But are you gonna?
But Sierra looks happy. Sierra looks happy, and you know what?
You know what
else looks happy? Future's son looks happy.
That's important.
Like, bruh, like, I mean,
And she's the
that's
only
what we
one.
want.
I don't think she's happy.
Wow.
'Cause this is my issue.
Wow. Talk to me, bro.
I don't know her lifestyle, so I don't know if she's happy. And
Why-
I feel
don't
like
know.
when she was younger, she liked the lifestyle, that future, whatever, the rapper shit. I feel like she's grown as a woman and she likes where she's at now. I feel like women mature out of that. Like you outgrow wanting rappers and athletes and stuff like that, and then you grow up and you want to date like a real guy.
But the problem is, men are saying you gave all your best years away to Bow Wow, 50 Cent, and Future.
Yo.
Those weren't her
You
best
gave your
years.
best years away to the guys that was doing dirt. Bow Wow was a sniper. Future was a sniper. 50 Cent was a sniper. And you gave those years away. Russell Wilson comes in, saves the day, and he's not the smoothest guy. His ex-wife, no disrespect to nobody, but she wasn't Sierra. And he comes in, he saves the day. And what the men are saying is like, why is it fair that you get to give your best years away to these Tyrones, but then Sebastian can come in and swoop you in at the end of the day?
I don't necessarily feel like her best years are past her,
Me
though.
either.
Like I think that honestly, I don't. Obviously, it's not right. They had a kid together, right? They have 2 kids, so the box is still good. That's number one.
IVF, in
She's
vitro.
she's still
In
in great.
vitro.
She's still in great shape.
She still look good.
She had her kids.
Whatever.
She had her kids.
I don't know. I
So
don't know.
all I'm saying, like I understand. Like a lot of guys, that's one thing. I had a conversation with a dude the other day about miles on a woman.